Welcome back to iTech Aspirant. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to build a complete video calling app using ZEGOCLOUD's Call UI kits. ZEGOCLOUD provides powerful SDKs and APIs that let you add real-time voice and video features into apps with just a few lines of code. I'll take you through everything step by step, from setting up Gradle dependencies, handling common errors, creating login and main activities, linking XML layouts, to finally making real-time voice and video calls with ZEGOCLOUD. By the end, you'll have a fully working video calling app on your phone. This is ZEGOCLOUD's official website, and I've also provided the link in the description below so you can check it out directly. And the best part, you also get 10,000 free minutes when you sign up. Let's start step by step. Click on the Sign Up button. Enter your first and last name. Select your country. Add your email and create a secure password. You won't receive the verification code until you enter a password and agree to the privacy policy. Now we need to verify by solving the questions shown on the screen. Verify your account using the code sent to your email. Click Start your free trial. In the company name field, type your company name or any other, if you don't have. For job title, I select Individual Developer. And for industry, I choose IT Technology and Service. Add your phone number and continue. Once your account is ready, the dashboard opens. Here are some of the benefits, like you get 10,000 free minutes. And you also get access to advanced support. On the dashboard, you'll also see options like projects, packages, and more. Feel free to check them out. Click Create a Project. You'll see many use cases for apps, such as voice and video call, video conference, live streaming, in-app chat, live shopping, and more. For this tutorial, we'll select voice and video call, and then click Next. Now, we need to set up our project. First, enter your project name. For example, I'll call mine Calling App. Next, you'll see an option to choose a way to get started. There are two main options. First, start with UI kits. This is the easiest method because it provides pre-built UI components that you can quickly embed. Second one is start with custom SDKs, which is more advanced, but requires more coding. ZEGOCLOUD supports multiple platforms like Android, iOS, Web, and Flutter. We'll use Android, and for this video, I recommend using UI kits because it's the fastest and most practical way to build an app. Wait a moment while the setup is created for our app. Once it's done, a new page will open. Here, it will ask you to build your app. You can choose between React Native, Web, Android, and others. We'll select Android. You'll see some default settings. Just leave them as they are. You can also select Group Call if you want to build an app for communicating with more than one user, but in this video, we'll go with the one-on-one call option. Click on Save and Start to integrate. Now, the system will initialize and give you keys like App ID and App Sign. Make sure to copy these values, but don't share them publicly. Next, allow microphone and camera permissions if prompted, because these are required for the voice and video call to work properly. Finally, click on Quick Start. We go to Quick Start with Call Invitation. Here you can see some examples of how it looks on different phones. It also mentions the requirements. For example, the minimum SDK required is 25. Now the very first step is adding ZEGOCLOUD's repositories into our Gradle settings file. Just copy them. In Android Studio, create a new project and select Empty Views activity. Name your app something like Call App. Set the minimum SDK to API 26 Android 8.0. Even though it mentions that the minimum SDK must be 25, but the requirement has now changed and API 26 is needed. Choose Kotlin as the language, and then click Finish. Now wait for Gradle to finish loading, and then copy these two Maven lines from the website. The purpose of these lines is that they tell Gradle where to look for ZEGOCLOUD's libraries. These lines need to be added under Dependency Resolution Management in the settings.gradle file, because this is where Android Studio looks for external libraries and repositories. So, let's open settings.gradle.kts and add them. Now converted, the reason is that the old format is no longer supported in the latest Gradle versions, and using URI is the correct way to define repository URLs. The first line is ZEGOCLOUD's official Maven repository, and the second line is Jetpack, which hosts additional dependencies. Now, we paste the required library line inside the build.gradle.kts file of the app module, under the Dependencies section. Change the single inverted commas into double quotes, and make sure to place round brackets around them. This adds the ZEGOCLOUD UI Kit call package into our project so we can use their pre-built call buttons and services. Here is our minimum SDK, which must be set to 26. If it's 25 or earlier, change it to 26 and click Sync Now. And if the minimum SDK requirement increases in the future, make sure to update it to the higher version. Now click on Sync Now to add the dependencies. This code is for notifications. I'll skip it for now. We're using this inside our login activity. Let's move to the coding section and create a new file called loginactivity.kt. This will be our launcher activity, which means the first screen that opens when we start the app. Now cut the intent filter section from main activity and paste it inside the login activity. This will make the login activity the launcher of our app. Set Android exported equal to true, so it can be launched properly as the main activity. Android also creates an XML file for this activity, named activitylogin.xml. Now let's create our simple login page. We'll start with a linear layout. Set the orientation to vertical. The first widget is a text view. Here I've written "Hi" for breathing. Made the text bold, added a bottom margin to separate it from the next element, and aligned it in the center. Set our linear layout gravity to center and set the text size to 50 sp. We'll quickly design this. It's very simple, just like I told you before. The edit text lets the user type their name. To guide the user, I've also set a hint with "Enter your name." Again, I've added some bottom margin for spacing. Set the ID to edit name so that we can access it later inside our login activity. The button is our login button to continue. I've set the text from strings as login, increased the text size to 20 SB so that it stands out and made it bold. Set padding so that our content looks clean and spaced properly. Now let's move into the login activity KT file. The ZEGOCLOUD Quick Start Guide gives us this Java code, and we convert this into Kotlin. First, we define a function in its ego service. Copy these two lines and paste them inside this function. We can remove this and simply write val instead. Also, remove the keyword new since in Kotlin we don't use it. Finally, don't forget to import them. We initialize the ZEGOUI kit pre-built call service by passing in the application context, our app ID, app sign, and also the user ID. We are storing app ID and app sign in a separate constants file. This makes our code cleaner, reusable, and safer. App ID is a long value. Copy this. Paste the app ID and app sign, which are provided to you by the website. App sign is a string. Now write constant.appid and constant.appsign. These values are coming from the constants file we created, which keeps our code cleaner and more secure. Import this. Leave them as empty strings for now. Let's assign the ID to our login button and then move to the code in login activity. Here, we extend app-compat activity and create two variables using late init. One for the edit text called editName, and one for the button called VTN login. Import button and edit text. Inside the onCreate method, make sure to set the layout to activity login. Then we connect our variables with their ID from the XML using findViewById. Next, we set a click listener on the login button. When the button is clicked, we first take the text entered in the edit text as the user ID. We trim it to remove any extra spaces. If the user has entered an ID, We call the init_ZEGOService user ID function to initialize the ZEGOCLOUD service. After that, we create an intent to move from login activity to main activity. And we also pass the user ID with the intent. This is important because the app needs to know which user is logged in when starting the main screen. I will also create a separate lecture on intents, so make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. Finally, we call start activity intent to actually launch main activity and switch the screen. And if the user leaves the field empty, we show a toast message saying please enter your ID. Make sure to import toast, intent, and any other classes every time they appear in your code, otherwise you'll get errors. Here, we use the same value for both user ID and username. And our function takes user ID as a parameter. Now let's move to the main activity. This is where we will actually make voice and video calls. First, let's check its XML file activity main.xml. We're using a linear layout as the root element. Inside this layout, first, a text view will later display a welcome message to the user. We set its text size to 20 for SP and add a margin at the bottom so it doesn't touch the next element. Set the gravity to center. Next, we have an edit text with the ID edit receiver ID. This is where the user will type the ID of the person they want to call. To make it user-friendly, we add a hint that says enter receiver ID and also a margin at the bottom. After that, we add a ZEGOCLOUD invitation button. This is a special button provided by the ZEGOCLOUD UI kit. Set its size to 40 dp by 40 dp. And a bottom margin to create some space. We give it the ID video call button, and this button will allow us to make video calls. Finally, we add another ZEGOCLOUD invitation button. This one is also 40 dp in size, and it will handle audio calls. The orientation is set to vertical so all elements stack one below the other. When the user enters a receiver ID, only then the video and audio call buttons become active and ready to use. Give it a padding of 20 dp, so everything stays neatly aligned in the middle. And that completes our simple main layout. Now let's switch to the Kotlin code in main activity. Inside the onCreate function, we set the content view to activity main. Now convert component activity into app_compat activity, because app_compat activity provides support for modern Android features and compatibility with older versions. Now we declare variables using latenit. A text view called text_hello. An edit text called edit_receiver_id. A ZEGOCLOUD invitation button for video call button. And another ZEGOCLOUD invitation button for audio call button. Now we initialize each UI elements by connecting them to their ID with findViewById. Next, we retrieve the user ID that we passed earlier from the login activity. After fetching it, we set the text hello to say hello followed by the user's ID. This creates a personalized welcome message. Now, for the important part, we add a text change listener to the edit receiver ID. Import add text change listener. This means whenever the user types something, we grab the text, trim it, and store it in target user ID. If the field is not empty, we call two functions, setup video call and setup audio call. And we pass target user ID in it. These functions prepare the buttons for making calls. Let's go over the setup video call function. On the ZEGOCLOUD website, we are given 3 lines of code to add a button for making call invitations. Instead of writing this separately for each button, we converted into one reusable block using the apply function in Kotlin. This makes the code cleaner and easier to manage. We use the same style for our audio call button as well. For this, we use set as video call to false to switch the call to voice only. Our code is complete. Now, let's change our app theme. Set it to theme.material_components.day_night.no action bar. This gives our app a modern material design look. We also use this theme because ZEGOCLOUD requires it for the calling features to work properly. Now let's run our app and check if it is installing properly. It's showing an error that the required Android Gradle plugin is 8.7.1, while we currently have 8.7.0. Let's update it to the latest version through libs.versions. Click on Sync now. Now update the minimum compile SDK to 36 or the latest version, as it's required for our app to run properly. Let's run our app again. I installed it on 2 devices. And finally, it's installed successfully on my phones. On the first phone, I'll enter the ID Alice, and on the second phone, I'll enter the ID Bob and click Login. Now, Alice wants to call Bob, so I'll enter Bob's ID on Alice's phone and click the voice call button. Allow this, and as you can see, the call is connected successfully. The audio is working perfectly fine. Let's now test the video call feature. Click the video call button. As you can see, the video call is connected successfully. Both cameras are working, and the video is clear along with smooth audio. Thanks for following along. If this tutorial helped you, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more detailed Android and tech tutorials.